things globally have never looked this extreme. I'll say that, right? I am not a person that likes to perpetuate fear. However, as many of you know, I speak a lot about my professional education as a economist, and I don't speak on it a lot because I feel like very much a novice, and this is probably some imposter syndrome that I need to get out of, having only seen economists as these old white men. I am privately doing my own economic research, and I don't talk about that, and maybe at some point I will. Well, today I am, right? I'm gonna talk about it because I came across a video. I was actually in a Zoom session with who is my, virtual mentor, Dr. Harnett, who also has a channel here on YouTube. I'll link it below. And her African Business Academy encourages people from all over the world to invest in Africa. And in this special video, she really talked about she talked about a lot of things, but something that really stood out to me is what I want to address in this video today. So if you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Ashley. On my channel, Ashley in Africa, I talk about my experience living, moving, and doing business here on the continent of Africa. If you're not new, welcome back. To all of our subscribers, our viewers, people who like, share, comment, financially contribute to the channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, if you can't see notifications, if you can't see our membership opportunity, make sure you're subscribed. Less than, I think, 30% of our viewers are subscribed to the channel, and so that really helps us to grow, it helps the community grow, it helps the information get out there if you're finding value in it. It helps the channel immensely, so please be sure to subscribe to the channel. And so I don't speak a lot about business. In fact, I'm doing a lot of things just now kind of behind the scenes that I will be sharing soon. But in this video specifically, I want to talk about the best countries in Africa to be in the event of a crisis, right? And so my mentor, Dr. Harnett, spoke about this in her lecture for a brief moment, but I thought it was so powerful because for people that are in the West, when we think about crisis, we think about everywhere else, right? We don't think that the US is ever gonna go through anything. And if you're living in the US and you're starting to see things that feel weird and you're having to cope in different ways, I invite you to really reflect on it. And so I wanna speak specifically about 5 commodities in which we're seeing shortages in the West. Also in places in Europe, right? Water. So where we're seeing drought, where we're seeing water shortages and they're requesting that we peel back our water usage. That's a big sign of natural resources declining. Food, where you're hearing about food shortages, when you're walking into a grocery store and you see that certain things are just not available or ridiculously priced. That's a huge sign of crisis. Wheat. So this is something that is less visible because most of the time we're not really watching or noticing that, but that's when things are, again, getting more expensive. And so in the US, there's a lot of processed wheats and a lot of the processed food, the crackers, the cereal, the bread, everything, right? The chips, all that, the snacks, those are more expensive, right? Are they not? Gas. So I'm talking about natural gases, propane. If you're in the US, has your gas prices gone up? If you're in the West, have your gas prices gone up? Even here in Tanzania, that's fluctuated a little bit, but also as commodities that are traded on the reserve currency of the US dollar, you're gonna have that. So that's going a little deep, but yeah, gas, right? And then energy costs. Are energy costs going up where you are? Are you seeing a huge gridlock in energy where things are shutting off, right? We saw this really happen in a huge way last year in Texas. These things around, global heat and those things are happening everywhere, right? Climate change is happening everywhere. But these are when you're in places that are less natural, more man-made, right? So where the trees might be planted or the water might be man-made. There's a lot of development and infrastructure development and less natural resources. That's where you're really going to see changes and problems. And as Dr. Harnett said, and as I can personally speak for, based on the people that I speak to, based on the comments, based on the other people that I'm in community with that are also actively doing this work, more and more people are looking at Africa as a plan B. And it's happening, right? You can negate whether you're from here, whether you're not from here, what you think about a place that you've never been to, what you think about a place that has corruption. And listen, like the fact is that I am seeing it firsthand that more and more people are choosing and looking at Africa as a plan B. And I want to talk about the countries that Dr. Harnett spoke about that are the best countries to be in the event of a crisis. And she spoke about 3 things and how she identified these countries. The first one was low inflation. So these are the countries that were hardly affected by the global recession that happened in 2008. Some of them may have been affected a little bit, but for the majority, the countries that I'm going to name were not as highly affected during the recession of 2008. They're also relatively peaceful countries, right? So they're not known for civil and political unrest. They're not known for being involved in global challenges, right? Because they keep their business to themselves. And they're known for that. They're known for being very peaceful countries. And then they also have easy business environments overall. And easy, I will put in quotes, right? Because business is not easy anywhere. However, the countries that I'm going to name are not places that make it extremely difficult to actually establish and engage in business. So you can start a business relatively fast in these countries. And as an investor, you do have some protections, right? There are constitutional laws in place that protect you once you actually enter into business. And it's something that I personally recommend in doing once you come to the continent, just for many reasons. But those laws and protections as a foreigner in business are things that you don't necessarily get if you're just traveling and moving around as a tourist. Okay, so the first country that I want to talk about is Rwanda. So Rwanda, located in East Africa, they're doing a great job of talking about the friendliness of their business environment, the ease of entry there. And it's a beautiful country. They've done really incredible work in progressing forward, from their history and from what many people know to be a very desolate, traumatic history experience. And I actually personally worked with a woman whose family is from Rwanda, and she was born there and actually left to go to Europe. And her parents are extremely against her going back to Rwanda because they fled Rwanda during the genocide. And she has since returned with her children, had a beautiful experience, shared it with me. I have several friends that have traveled to Rwanda and absolutely love it. And so Rwanda is on the top of the list primarily because I have like these really close experiences with people that have spent time there, and I eventually want to go there. However, I don't know what it's like to live there, but they are known for one of the cleanest and safest countries here on the continent, and I know for a fact are very business friendly. So Rwanda is number 1. And number 2, kind of 2 and 3, 2A and B, are the islands of Zanzibar and Cape Verde. So I know nothing about Cape Verde other than it's a beautiful island off of the west coast of West Africa. That's about it. That's all I know. I do plan to visit. I have some family that are, directly descendants of Cape Verde, but I don't know anything about it to speak on it. For Zanzibar, I know a little bit about. So I've been to Zanzibar in personal and professional capacities, and also have even worked on like potential projects in Zanzibar. And while we didn't get the projects, it allowed me to really learn a lot about what is professionally being set up there, or from a business infrastructure perspective. And so currently, although it is a part of Tanzania, right, they do have their own system of operation, one of which allows foreigners to purchase land. So this is somewhat of a test economy there right now, where they are allowing foreigners to purchase property. And with that purchase, also allowing for residency opportunities, right? So it is a beautiful island. There's a whole lot of people over there that don't have 0 ounce of melanin. I'll say that. They've discovered that there is a life that is better for them in Africa than their home country. And they look nothing like the people that originate from this continent, okay? And they've figured it out. So Zanzibar has made it very much accessible to have land, to have business, and to have residency. So the next countries are 2 countries I know nothing about, but Dr. Harnett says they're great countries: Botswana and Namibia. So all my Botswanans, my Namibians, stand up in the comments. I don't know anything about your country. I cannot wait to visit. They look beautiful when I search information on them, and I'm sure I will visit very soon. But these are countries that Dr. Harnett says not only are peaceful, they have very accessible business environments, and they also were relatively unaffected by the financial recessions in 2008. So if you have an interest in one of those 2 countries, you're on the right track, right? Okay, and so the next 2 countries I know a little bit about, Ghana, right? So Ghana has made itself somewhat of the poster child for the African American, African diaspora return to the continent, repatriation to the continent. Based with a year of return, it was a huge economic influx to their economy, and they have somewhat made themselves be the place for African American diasporan returnees to the continent. And so while I don't know a ton about Ghana, I know that there is a plethora of content out here on YouTube from content creators like Wode Maya, Natural Ghana Girl, Rochelle, Vanessa Canby, that are sharing the ins and outs of what it looks like to be living in Ghana and thriving in Ghana. And Dr. Harnett did mention that they have dealt with a little bit of inflation, and they, are a little bit more connected to Western financial infrastructure, but are relatively very peaceful, very safe, and have an ease of business for foreigners coming into Ghana to do business in Ghana. And so the last country, but very not the least country that Dr. Harnett mentioned, was Tanzania. And being here in Tanzania, I can see exactly why Tanzania was on the list. In 2008, very, unaffected by the 2008 financial crisis, because there are no mortgages here for the most part. Maybe there are, I'm not familiar with, but for the Tanzanians that I know that own property here, they're paid for and free. Paid for in cash, free mortgage. That's that, right? There is an abundance of fruits, vegetables, livestock, wheat, rice. These things are grown here. You can see Penelope in the background. The kids are home, so you're gonna see them. We got kids, we love kids, they here, so they're here. There are water bottling plants here. Water bottling plants and natural resources. And while residency is not so straightforward, there is an opportunity to acquire residency with, resilience, strategy, maturity, and patience, something that I would, recognize is required anywhere here on the continent. Shout out to African Superstar, also one of the content creators in Ghana that is, really talking about really what life looks like in Ghana. So yeah, Tanzania is doing the thing, and I feel so comfortable here. It's also very safe. I've never felt safer. Very peaceful. And while no place is perfect, right? I think we're all looking for an opportunity to be in a place that allows us to feel safe, right? Where we don't feel like there's scarcity, where we feel like there's peace. And I feel that, here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. What do you think about this list? Are you in another part of the continent where you feel like, this place is great, we don't have any of these things, or we do have some of these things, but they're getting better? Please be sure to list them, leave a comment below and let me know. If you resonated with this content, please be sure to like it, share it with someone who would find value in it as well. And if you, your family, or someone have an interest in moving to the continent, I'd love to help you. I'd love to support you in your journey. You can connect with me one-on-one on my calendar below, or you can even access ashleyinafrika.com for some resources that I've made for you that are readily available for download. Until the next time, I'll see you soon.